Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Tuesday, October 21st. I'm your host, Tal Moore. The Penn State game in 11 days, the game against Michigan in 39 days. Today, we're talking about the Ohio State offense with our buddy Ross Fulton, the X's and O's guru at BuckeyeHuddle.com. And when Ross is on the show, we're sponsored by Jeff Ruby's of Columbus, proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and an attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. All right, we're welcoming Ross in on today's show. And I really love doing these shows with him because then when I'm watching stuff on Saturday, I can sound real smart, like I'm a real ball knower. And one of the things that we talked about on last week's show was, well, they're not really pulling the ball in the RPOs. And if they ever do that, boy, that's going to be there. And they can just go boom, boom, boom right down the field. And there was a drive or two on Saturday against Wisconsin when I'm looking through a camera lens from behind the defense and the ref's butt's right in my face and I can't see anything. And I'm like, allow me to assure you, friends, they are pulling the RPO. These tags haven't been live recently, but they are live, and that's why they're able to just go boom, boom, boom right down the field to Jeremiah Smith, 8 yards at a shot. Ross, thanks for being here, and thanks for making us all a little bit smarter.
Happy to be here. Yeah, it was apparent from the outset. I guess this has been sort of a running theme, right? We talked about it against Washington. RPOs didn't seem live in the first half. Were in the second half when things opened up. Illinois showed some examples where it was hard to imagine that they were live because, as I said, like Julian Sand has not been shy to pull and throw them, and when he gets the chance to, and he's really good at it, right? Like we talked, he's accurate, he's got a quick release. It fits well with what he does. So you can see from the jump that they are live, and because the reason we've been harping on this, right, is because there's a common theme this year, which is they're getting a lot of cover three on early downs. Teams are bringing their safety down the box to play the run, and they've got these soft cover three corners. And so, cover three has a lot of versatility. There's a reason it's been around for a long time. But one thing it's not very good at is against these RPOs, right? And so without a running quarterback threat, this is the way you equate numbers. So first play of the game, right? They're just going to run. It's a split zone. The tight end is going to arc release. Other one's going to block back, 12 personnel. So Wisconsin's got their 4-3 on the field. And you're running just a hitch to the wide field and a quick out to the boundary. And this is just an access read. Like Julian Saint's probably reading this pre-snap. He sees the amount of grass there. And so he knows he's going to pull it, throw the hitch, 8-yard gain. And so, again, rather than trying to deal with these numbers in the box, if teams are going to give you those throws, you're just going to take them. And obviously, as we talked about, like if it's staying well, you're getting the ball out to your two best players and Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. And they leaned into these all game long. I think by my count, Ohio State had 35 snaps in the first half. They threw on 27 of them, but I think at least 9 of those throws were RPOs, give or take. And so it's much more like closer to 50-50 play calling split, right? Like this is literally a run play with a pass attached. It's just it's a read on Sand's part. So if the numbers aren't there, as we'll see later, like if the read's not there, you're going to give the run. So these are run plays. These yards are counted as official passing stats, but they arise out of the run game and the threat of the run game and defenses handling them. But as we'll see, Ohio State did different types of RPOs but this is the first type. This sort of just, you're going to play soft corner coverage. We're going to take the free yards.
Well, and one thing that's been sort of interesting this year is Ohio State hasn't been able to run the ball well in the run game, but I wonder if the success and the availability of these RPOs and the success they've had when they've chosen to run them is maybe a part of why Ryan Day has really not felt or seemed concerned at any point about the lack of success in the run game. And I wonder if the fact that they're able to have this kind of success when they want to with pulling the ball and throwing it is part of that. Because this next one, as you said, this is another RPO, just a little bit of a different look.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's some of it. And I think, obviously, my thought would be that regardless of the actual stats, teams are concerned enough about your run game that they are taking steps to address it, right? Like, as I said, bringing a safety down to the box. Now, obviously, they may be doing that as well because they think that they can get away with it if you're not going to punish them for it. But, again, as I said, we saw Wisconsin a lot of cover three, fire zones on early downs, trying to attack the OSU run game early. And that's why, Ohio State had so much success with the RPOs. But, and then, as I said, there are different types of RPOs, right? So, like that first clip we showed was a free access throw. This next one is a outside zone run, and it's paired with a curl flat. So this time, instead of reading the grass, he's reading this backside nickel defender that I've circled. If the nickel sits on the, he can tell that he's got the numbers, right? It's 2-on-1 because this corner is so soft in coverage. If the nickel goes with the flat route, he'll throw the curl. If the nickel sits on the curl, he'll throw the flat route. And so he, reads that offensive line's blocking outside zone and hits Jeremiah Smith again on the curl flat combo.
So a lot of the stuff we've been showing you in terms of these RPO looks has been real short stuff, and it's just take your 6 yards or your 8 yards or whatever it is. But they threw downfield and hit some stuff, not a million miles downfield. That's not really an RPO look, but the second touchdown to Carnell Tate, the one that was kind of in the corner of the end zone, that's the next one we're going to be looking at.
Exactly. And so this is a third type of look that we saw, right? And, you talked about the short stuff, so I showed 2 of those. They also ran counter GT with a slide RPO to Max Clare. They ran that a couple times. The second of which was the one when Julian Sand kept on what looked like a zone read. It was actually an RPO, and the defender stayed with Clare, and so he ran. But this is a way to attack more vertically, right? So again, we are running, you're running the RPO here, so you just have an inside zone, but you're giving Sand this read, right? That he can, if he thinks he's got single coverage on the outside, he can pull it and throw these fade routes. He actually has fade routes to both Tate and Smith. He goes to the shorter side where he's got single coverage. Obviously, great throw and catch. But, if Wisconsin changes up, Wisconsin's in a cover 4 here. If they'd given a different look, he may have just given right on this inside zone play. And like you can see the offensive line, the tell is, especially when you get like the behind the camera look at it, they're blocking inside zone, right? You can see the double team from Carson Hinsman and Luke Montgomery climbing to the second level. So the offensive line for them, these are all run plays again. And this is, an extension of the run game. So again, if teams are going to play them with aggressive looks to play the run, then they can take advantage of it with the pass.
And then, of course, the converse of that is if teams are playing the pass, they can run it. And they didn't run it particularly well, and Bo Jackson really did not have a great game. But one of the, probably his biggest play of the day came on an RPO where they did give it, and that's the next one we're going to be looking at here.
Yeah, so later in the game, eventually Wisconsin gets tired of getting RPO to death, as most teams do. And, one of the reasons, like in a bigger picture perspective before like diving into the play, that people sometimes are, lukewarm on RPOs is that the defense can dictate what you do. So to my point about the first half snap breakdown, right? If you want to run the ball, if you're calling RPOs and you want to run the ball, the defense can force the give in the throw, and you can end up with a pretty lopsided run to pass ratio, right? So sometimes when you want to run it, you just call the run play. The flip side though is there's no other way for Ohio State in these looks to get the box counts they want that are going to put their offense in a better position. And so from Ohio State's perspective, they should be happy to be able to throw it every play if that's what teams want them to do. Like that plays into their hands between Sand and Smith and Tate. And so finally, as I said, Wisconsin had basically had enough. And so you can see here, they walk their corners up, right? So now they're still playing cover 3, but they're bailing coverage. So they're trying to take away those free access throws. They also it's cover 3 week again. And so that safety's coming down to the side of the run play. But look how much slower he is coming downhill, right? So we saw plays against Illinois where Ohio State had everything blocked up, and that weak side safety in cover 3 was making the tackle 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. That Here, this guy's sitting because now they don't want to get just thrown right into that area. So now you have the opportunity to block up. You get the numbers now, right? So we're in 12 personnel, and we got 7-on-7 here with the safety out of the box, at least until, 6 yards downhill. So they get, you're going to go to the backside here. And again, this is the exact same play that they ran on that first play where I showed the hitch, right? So you're going to have the hitch to the field, the quick out to the boundary, and then you're just running split zone. So you're going to get Bennett Christian's he's going to fan out. Will Kazmarek is going to split block the defensive end. You're going to get a double between Carson Hinsman and Tegra Shabola. They're going to climb to the play side linebacker. Hinsman does a nice job getting the second level. Nice base block by Luke Montgomery there. And so now you're getting numbers where you can run on, right? And so, what were 2-3 yard runs are now turning into 5, 6, 7 yard runs. So the RPOs should serve them well. Like, you get one or two things, right? Teams are going to have to do this. And if they want to play single high coverage, they have to press up their corners. Obviously, if they're going to press up their corners, that opens up explosive pass play opportunities downfield, right? Like, as opposed to bailing cover 3 corners who can cap routes from Jeremiah Smith. Like, we saw a couple of those on Saturday where they try to get it downfield. And, Julian Sand probably just need to get the ball up a little higher to him. But, it gives the corner a chance if he's got a 10-yard cushion on him to start. But now where he doesn't. So A, that's going to open up things downfield. Or B, they're going to have to play some type of split safety look where they squat their corners in the flats. And obviously, split safety looks are easier, give you better run game numbers. And so that helps the run game. So the benefit of the RPOs is not just the fact that if teams are going to give it to you, you're taking the yards and you're getting the ball to your best player. It's going to open up things both in either the passing game, more your drop back concepts to throw the ball vertically downfield, or you're going to get numbers in the run game and you're going to get much better, lighter box counts.
Well, it has not solved all of the issues in the run game. They still did struggle for extended periods against Wisconsin. In this next one, this is CJ Donaldson's second run of the game. The first one he went for something like 12 or 13 yards, and the second one he went for like no yards. Is this an example? I mean, I feel like there's plenty of people who want to point to the offensive line. There's plenty of people who want to point to the running backs. What's the issue here in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're getting hit in the backfield, that's on the offensive line. I mean, yes, there are situations where like your running back's good enough to make up for missed blocks. Ohio State's not in that situation. There are times where I thought things were blocked pretty well, and it's like, one-on-one with the corner. And when the corner makes the tackle in that situation, like that's on the back, like make a guy miss, run a guy over. But in this situation, this is just the offensive line issues. I thought Wisconsin, for as lopsided of a game it is, they have a pretty decent run defense and they had some good concepts up front. And like, we'll talk about that both like in run and pass blocking. In particular, Ohio State did a lot of slanting and stunting up front. And Ohio State had some problems picking up the slants or the stunts or trading off blocks, right? So you're blocking inside zone here. And so like, as you draw it, right, everyone's stepping to their left. Okay. And so in theory, you would get a double team. Let's say that like, so I'm looking at the nose guard, right, between Carson Hinsman and Tegra Shabola to the backside. If he stays there and he plays that A gap, Shabola is going to step to his left. Hinsman's going to put his arm on him and they're going to climb to the middle linebacker. Instead, the defensive tackles both slant back away from the play. So that one technique, he's slanting between Shabola and Daniels, and the other side, they're slanting between Montgomery and Hinsman, right? And so you have to adjust on the fly. The problem is, like, Shabola has a tendency, he's way too leaned over here, right? He's reaching, so he has no balance. So it's difficult for him to adjust to movement on the fly. And similarly, like Daniels, there's too much, he doesn't get, his step is not correct. He's too slow getting to that double team. He needs to get, like right now, when you already, that guy's coming off Shabola, like Daniels needs to be there. So I would say, I can't say it's solely a problem of the right side of the offensive line. There are similar miscues on the left side, but certainly I think that that right side is causing them more problems. But the long and the short of it is that by slanting, they split that double team. The linebacker is able to come also downhill untouched because of the slant. And it's just 3rd and 2, and it's a dead play. And that's how you end up running in short yardage, and this is the one time they had to punt on the day.
Well, again, the run game was kind of up and down, and it felt like it was up more often than not when Isaiah West was in the game. This next one, this is one where the right side of the offensive line does a much better job blocking, but also one of the things that it felt like you saw out of Isaiah West was he would generally get a little more than the play was blocked for. This one was blocked pretty well, but then he got a little more than that even on this one.
Yep, I agree. So again, I think I've showed this, a few times that I continue to think that boundary stretch, perhaps ironically for many out there, continues to be Ohio State's best run play this year. And this is another example of it. This is done really well. Like I just, critiqued Phil Daniels in the terms of how he handled that block. Here he does a really nice job of helping Josh Patia set the double team on the 3 technique, getting off to the backside linebacker, and that creates this opportunity for West to put his foot in the ground and get upfield. I also agree with you. This is to my point about making corners or safeties miss. Like this is, I would say it's been too rare this year to see a running back make a unblocked safety like that miss on tackle. And so anytime you get those additional yards, like that's the running back's job, and he does a good job here. I thought West, there was another stretch play where he tried to cut it up inside. He should have pressed it to the outside more. But I do think, they're obviously trying things in the backfield in terms of the snap counts and who's getting the ball. I thought that was a pretty good, first sustained opportunity for West as a runner. He had a few good runs. He had this one. He had another one off of a counter CY where they pulled they ran counter, but pulled Carson Hinsman and kicked out. And, he got down to about the 3-yard line on that one as well. So good start. Again, so not all bad things in the run game. I think when they get the offensive line's getting like a clear picture like this, they're doing pretty well. It's just handling some of the movement and post snap stuff. And again, to return to an earlier theme, I do think like the more that they RPO and things like that, it will clean up the picture. And, I would also note before I forget that saw a lot less 13 personnel in this game for sure. Other than maybe a goal line situation. There was that one play to touchdown to Will Kazmarek was 14 with the I formation. But, so I think Innis played more like 41 snaps, right? And even missing a few. So they were in 11 over half the time. And so, you saw them certainly lighting up the box. And as I said, relying on the RPOs more to handle extra bodies as opposed to multiple tight ends.
And the running backs are not just contributing on the ground. Bo Jackson had 10 carries for 26 yards, which is not real good at all. You're not going to be able to get very far going 2.6 yards per carry. However, he has turned into a pretty solid weapon for them through the air. He had 5 catches, 57 yards, so half as many plays, and more than twice as many yards through the air. This next one is one of those plays.
Yeah, I mean, this, again, sort of have a thematic show here from week to week. Another one of our discussions of, Julian saying, pushing the football down the field versus taking what's there, right? And so you have this, seam route to Jeremiah Smith here against cover 3. I think there's an argument that can be made that right when Smith gets to the linebacker level, that ball should be out from Sand and hit Smith down that seam route. I think there's still some opportunities that are out there, particularly on the seams against cover 3. But like Sand he does such a good job navigating the pocket and like for a young quarterback stepping up and feeling the rush and like buying himself time. I would say Daniels had some struggles in pass protection. I mean, certainly not alone, but his feet are a little slow in his set. And so, here he is, he's, having to run the guy up the field and, but he kept getting, as a result of that, like he started oversetting and getting beat inside at times. Cause they're running like a half slide protection. You can see from the back end zone where, they're going to step from Carson Hinsman, is going to step into the half slide with and then Phil Daniels has got big on that end. So he's sort of left on his own. And so that's how he's kind of left. He has no choice but to run him upfield, where you have everyone else sort of half sliding and picking up the gap. But, again, like Sand does such a good job. Maybe he's not taking the shots all the time, but like the efficiency, like it's hard to complain about these checkdowns like that are going for 10, 15 yards. And obviously Wisconsin and other teams, they're making a point of emphasis to get depth from their second level defenders to deal with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. And that's just opening these up. So again, like maybe he could have taken the shot there, the seam route to Smith. Hard to argue when you're like checking it down and getting like 10, 15 yards a play on that. And you're, at a minimum, keeping the team ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I just saw a chart just a few minutes ago as we were recording this. Julian Sand's completion percentage above expected is the single highest in the college football playoff era. Justin Fields is second. He's like 11% higher completion percentage than you would have expected based on the plays. So it's not necessarily going to be explosive, but it's going to be efficient, and that's kind of kept them on schedule and marching down the field. However, sometimes it is also explosive, and this last one is that long pass downfield, really nice downfield shot to Carnell Tate in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I would say that, when people are asking, well, why is he being conservative? Why isn't he pushing it? Just be patient, like let someone develop and grow in the position. That's certainly what Ryan Day wants. And obviously Day talked about post game, wanting to put more on Sand's shoulders. And he obviously answered the bell. And, here you can see him start to get more comfortable to push things downfield, right? Like, so Wisconsin, as I said, ran a lot of cover 3 on early downs and quarter half. A lot of Tampa 2 on third down, right? This is third and long. You got 3 high safety look. Day talked about post game because Ennis had gotten hurt the play before. He had Carnell Tate in the slot here in a position he hadn't run this play before. This is a 3 vertical route. So you got 3 verts versus cover 2. The the number 1 read is to that bull shot over the pull runner, which is, the middle guy deeper between the cover 2 safeties. Again, pass protection, not ideal. You get Tegra Shabola sort of driven back, and Austin Cerevel, again, we talked about with Phil Daniels, like Austin Cerevel also oversets and turns his shoulders. And you'd like to see them keep a little bit more square, heads up, to handle more stunts and things like that. But just a great job by Sand, moving the pocket, great throw, great catch. I mean, as I said, Sand is going from, someone who they wanted to minimize his role as much as possible against Texas to like kind of the bell cow of the offense, in the sense of like, and it's just like the little things, like, yes, like he gets the ball out quickly. Yes, he's accurate. He keeps them ahead of schedule. But like, again, the pass protection was not great. And, I don't want to overstate it. Like when you're throwing that much, like it's never going to be perfect. But like his ability just to like move in the pocket is really underrated. And like you see a lot of young quarterbacks that want to keep drifting back or sort of get their eyes off being downfield. Like he just has subtle ability to move, step up. Here he does like side steps, and obviously still delivers an accurate ball. So, whether it's this one, the third Ennis, even the incomplete ones, right? Like the shots of Jeremiah Smith, you see him like seeing the single coverage and taking those shots. So I think you're going to keep seeing this development. And like, as I would say, for this team, particularly like, some uneven offensive line play. I think they're the running backs. I mean, I think Jackson and West are doing, probably improving the level of just as runners, but both freshmen. Like on the flip side, you got like 2 monsters on the outside, right? And a quarterback playing at a really high level. So if you can, I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe have games where they don't RPO to this extent, or rely on it quite as much, just because that's just been Day's history. And it depends on what the defense is doing, but like certainly when it matters, like I would want the ball in Sand's hands and getting it outside as much as possible.
All right, so there you go. There's the look at Ohio State's offense against Wisconsin. Next time Ross is on, we'll be talking about the Ohio State defense against Wisconsin. I don't want to spoil anything, but they gave up 0 points and less than 100 yards before garbage time. So I'm going to guess that's going to be a generally positive note in that show. And then next week, of course, no Ohio State game this weekend, so there's no Ross Fulton film breakdown for next week. So we are going to be we'll be doing a little bit of a preview show for the Penn State game and a little bit of a sort of broader season-wide look at the offense and defense. If you have specific stuff to what you want us to talk about, we will be talking about a lot of that stuff on the Huddle board presented by Jeff Ruby's Columbus at BuckeyeHuddle.com. So we'd love to see you there. If you have specific stuff you'd like to see us talk about next week, leave us some questions in the comments on YouTube as well. We're happy to discuss those and answer any of those questions that you have there. We'll do as many as we can during the show next week. So there you go. That's the look at the Ohio State offense against Wisconsin. Thanks again to our sponsors, Jeff Ruby's of Columbus, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus, named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.